Hello, predominantly male fan base of professional wrestling. We of course had Friday Night SmackDown. That of course was Friday Night SmackDown. I don't know what you people actually absolutely try to expect off these freaking episodes. We even had the beginning of the show start off just unnecessary, short, peachy little corny promos that were like five. And I understand they're trying to do this so they can hype up the pay-per-view and hype up what's going on in the show, but it felt so awkward, especially if you see me right now, that you cannot. Nakamura comes around strutting with his arms looking like an epileptic slow child, coming over and saying that we're gonna beat you one-on-one. And they treated it like it was a tag team match. No, it was just Biggie Langston and freaking Cesaro one-on-one to choose the stipulation for their tag title match for the pay-per-view this Sunday. By the way, Slammiversary is tomorrow. More on that later. I already have had multiple videos. I have no optimism. I'm not interested that much until like real big stars come into Impact. So if y'all want more news, I will issue a review of the Slammiversary pay-per-view because I didn't mind the other because last year's Slammiversary pay-per-view wasn't that bad at all. So, by God, I hated it. I hated it. Miz and Morrison had two segments, and for the Intercontinental Championship match that they were building up, they rerun the same thing, the same promo, the same lines, the same everything for the main event. So they just copied and pasted the same promo, cut it up, copy it, cut it into the middle, but before the match, so they have some hype factor into the Intercontinental title match. And what a way to build up a guy that barely had a match in 2 weeks to lose clean to the Intercontinental champion. Corbin attacked him after his loss to AJ Styles. What is that? Supposed to build him up? And I was told that they were teasing a feud with Corbin since Survivor Series of last year because he eliminated him. So wouldn't it be better to cost him the Intercontinental Championship than just beating him up after it? I guess that's supposed to be that salt in the wound thing, but I really don't take Corbin as a credible heel. First of all, because he looks like a drunken cancer patient, and the asshole hasn't won any notable feud since becoming King of the Ring. So what's the point of this? To get over Riddle, of course. He'll win a few matches come Extreme Rules. Why not have the Intercontinental title match in Extreme Rules? This was a waste of energy. This was a complete waste of energy. The rest was supposed to be a guest appearance, for a surprise appearance for a Moment of Bliss segment later on in the show. So what would be the guest appearance? Would it be one friend of mine, sillily, she really likes AJ Lee, so I wish, man. I was guessing Ember Moon because she's been off on action since I think last October or something over an arm injury. So you see her backstage still with her arm in a sling. So I just thought it'd be her. That would be nice. We have barely any notable faces in the women's division or something. And all we just see is Nikki Cross either getting a shot, Lacey Evans' babyface bullshit, and then she just turns heel after a karaoke event. And then Naomi's offense. That I think is like the worst offense in my opinion. Yes, I know how beautiful she is. I understand her ass is magnetizing with her split leg drop that looks like it cannot even hurt a weak bone person. It's just trash offense. The one-on-one match was fine. Vertical suplexes. Very little. There was the multiple European uppercuts. It did end off Nakamura getting involved in smashing. After the match, the New Day did smash Biggie to the table. I think Cesaro to a table. Excuse me. I wanted to say that the match was fine. It's just we've seen them already wrestle each other like tag team matches, multi-man tag team matches, and it was supposed to be the Forgotten Sons until some racial shit was shown on Twitter. Because somehow some people can't even voice their own opinions. I'm not saying what the Forgotten Sons did was good. I think that was Jackson Riker, but I just didn't care. I mean, the best thing I saw was at least the swing returns. It was good to give 11 of those back and forth counters. I didn't mind the match that much. The match was fine. It's just how they just tease it around, and instead of like hyping up to making it a tables match, and Cesaro just awkwardly, methodically, just thinking, "Oh God, black people gyrating. Let's just make it a tables match to keep it safe." That was the worst segment in the show, in my opinion. There was a lot of multiple segments. I forgot where Chad Gable was. Where was Dana Brooke? Like you did a lack of. I forgot Carmella was part of SmackDown. There's like a lack of any sort of rosters except what's just there to build over the pay-per-view. And whatever they have that's really important, they'll build it up to next week. Like Cesaro and Sheamus has been feuding for 2 months. How come the your two top heavyweights on the roster is gonna feud for next week? I don't mind a short pay-per-view. I allow it. I don't mind, other than 4 hours of nothing. It would be worse off if we had 4 hours of nothing but no crowd. But lack of a card. Like, what's there? The women's tag titles are on the line. 2 women's title defenses. The United States Championship. 2 world title matches that no one cares about. I just don't care. Oh, I think also the Raw tag titles are on the line. And plus, of course, the SmackDown tag titles. But other than that, there's like no source of any exciting build-up. We also had the Moment of Bliss segment that it came to Nikki Cross giving a screeching revolt, going over her finally trying to realize her dream, thinking that she was the guest appearance, even though she's the host. But supposedly that's supposed to be a surprise appearance. It was so. I always thought that Nikki Cross looked like one of those awkward Euro mothers that you see, or at least those Euro girls that some people used to date. It's just awkward. Her matches are trash, in my opinion. I feel like they're awkward, whaley, and show no excitement, and they're not. They don't tell much of a story, in my opinion. I have no grasp on Nikki Cross. She seems like a nice girl. I'm just not this. I'm not interested in her matches. And she's not really that appealing unless she's with Alexa. It ended up with, of course, the golden whatevers. They're called the golden role models, but no one cares. They just come off disrupting, of course, because some conflict always has to happen in a guest show other than actual dialogue to build up into something. But it came with Asuka being the surprise guest for an impromptu tag team match. And the match was meh. It didn't get better until latter half. We got Missing Meteora, nice drop kick. Asuka, of course, with a roundhouse kick that always looked devastating. Uh, it ended off a roll up for the pin with Bayley using the ropes for the finish. Basic enough, but there's like no real type of momentum for Nikki Cross. I don't think she's gone a show with winning a match. So that was just weak. She already lost to Bayley twice for the women's titles. At least one ended in a DQ because of Shayna, and she lost clean. She lost clean to her last time, so I don't understand what's the point of still continuing that we just need Nikki Cross instead of anybody else to actually be taken seriously or us to have a competent women's division. This is just weak in my opinion. We also had, of course, Braun Strowman against John Morrison. Now, you remember when I said earlier in the review that, of course, there's multiple segments. Well, there was, of course, one involving John Morrison and The Miz going through crappy banter over, Jean-Claude Van Damme and going over. So you're not scared of Braun Strowman? I'm freaking terrified. It's so crap, and there's so comedic relief, and that works for a mid-card feud. It's not going to work, especially when you're feuding with the Universal Champion. And Braun Strowman comes around just awkwardly laughing like he's a slow child trying to think he's referencing something from a freaking cartoon or an anime, screaming around, trying to think that this feud is actually really important. No one cares. It's harsh, but dude, I'm I'm being honest. Like, they're coming around with Bray Wyatt segments being like, "Welcome back to the swamp," and the snakes in the seaweed looks like seaweed, and it's just not compelling. It's not, especially over a gimmick that already royally failed just a few years back. I don't understand the strategy here, other than to compel some notion of Braun having a past relationship go sour for some apparent reason, and we get it. We get it. We get it. Your life sucks, Bray. Your life sucks. That's pretty much the gimmick of it. Gimmick of him as the Fiend, and him as the Blues Clues ripoff, and Mr. Rogers ripoff, and of course, his ripoff of some gimmick from the 90s. It's just not compelling. Braun Strowman can barely tell a story, and if he does, the extensiveness of him just screaming like an autistic child, going over a feud, it's so crap, and it just felt like Morrison and Miz was like, where did we come from in this? Of course, Morrison would lose because, of course, it's supposed to build up Strowman like, I'm ready. I'm not afraid of Bray Wyatt. I'm gonna face my fears. The horror show. It's so corny. It is, folks. They ended up with Morrison getting walked out by The Miz. Afterwards, he got pumped up, tossed around, power slam, big booty, got double stomped, scraped on his foot. Okay, he just got that. Bray Wyatt didn't even show an appearance until Lacey Evans just kind of out of nowhere, just wailing with her stupid cum napkin that after licking Otis's nuts that's supposed to be there. It's Do we forget that he's supposed to be always there? Supposed to be a constant threat, the leech that's supposed to be always over the neck of the champion. I don't know if Vince is just telling we just gave a freaking midget Festus the freaking Money in the Bank briefcase. It sounds harsh, whoever's an Otis fan, but y'all understand I don't care about Otis. Some people try to compare that to Dusty Rhodes. You guys are really trying. Y'all are really trying. But it's really bad. It showed no semblance because we already saw him beat these guys easy in a handicap match. So the point of this was just to vent for no reason. What is this supposed to do for Braun? We already don't take him that seriously as a champion, going over some neckbeard feud that has no interest to convey, and he's the main eventer. He's the world champion that rarely main events. That's not how you're supposed to convey a champion, WWE. That doesn't bring any prestige to your title that's nearly half a decade old at this point. And most of your guys been injured, part-timers, or pushed 60. So there's no point. Lacey Evans did come after Morrison was getting walked out with The Miz after a stretcher nearly come because he was selling the injuries okay. So it was Naomi versus Lacey Evans one-on-one because of the karaoke bullshit from last week that everybody critically bombed. Even what culture that likes WWE taint with their blindingness of bliss to forcible optimism that they think WWE would be okay if they get this NXT star. This NXT star, we need to lick some guy's nuts from New Japan. And Dave Meltzer is a credible source to actually think that a wrestler is actually good for national television. So, of course, we have Lacey Evans against Naomi, the most forgettable SmackDown Women's Champion in history. I don't mind Naomi. I think that she's incredibly athletically gifted. Obviously, we're just going to reference her always as the better Funkadactyl at this point. But it's just... It ended off Lacey Evans wrapping up her hair over the ropes to at least get a clear advantage. And I thought she was just going to attack her afterwards, but that just left her a bit of an opening so she can hit the women's right. That people are still confused if it's a forearm or a real punch to the face. And if it is, how can a small, some tall woman's frail fist be stronger to knock somebody out more consistently than the Big Show's KO punch? That's literally like a near 400-pound man using his huge fist to knock out grown men. I don't understand. I don't care. The match was poor. We have dumb extended leg drops that look like they hurt. Hurricane Ranas. It felt like no reason that this match had to exist, other than to bring some semblance of other feuds are happening, other than Bayley and Sasha just eating screen time. And then it just had Nikki Cross after an interview with Bayley and Sasha being like, "We're just getting momentum," and all this stuff. Yeah. Bayley just looks like a freaking crescent moon with eyeshadow and makeup, and Sasha just looks like a freaking chihuahua with a weave. I don't understand why I have to watch this on television, man. It ended up with Nikki Cross feeling like a freaking 15-year-old, like there's supposed to be some semblance of a feud. Ending up with Nikki Cross just awkwardly attacking them after the interview, and I think it was supposed to be a photo shoot. Attacked her afterwards and being like, "Put a leash on her." That's not an number contender. That's a lackey. That's Alexa Bliss's lackey. And with a lack of any source of storytelling, what's supposed to compel currently the most dominant women's champion currently at this point, because she holds nearly all the gold except the Raw Women's title. And they just brought Asuka because Asuka got to face off against Sasha at Extreme Rules 2. Freaking Nerf logo. This is embarrassing. Match of the night did go to Styles and Matt Riddle for the Intercontinental Championship. The only thing that pretty much I thought unsold the deal was, of course, the promo that they literally just copied and pasted from the opening of the show, and of course, the post-match finish. That just ended up with an awkward feud. If you wanted to, why not just have the Intercontinental title match at the pay-per-view to bring some more source of impact? Thanks, you caused, pay-per-view debut, you caused a title match, but I can't just do that. I can't do that. That's going to make me feel like I actually care about whatever SmackDown does. But, yeah. Big strikes, gut-wrench suplexes. Good. There were some great strikes by Riddle. Bicycle knee. Big bicycle knees while keeping AJ front forward. And I like the semblance of detail by the commentary, just focusing on the ground game by Styles to make sure Riddle doesn't Riddle doesn't hit any strikes on him. Big calf crusher nearly had the finish, and then it was the bro mission. I think it was called the bro mission for some kind of inverted abdominal stretch headlock. It ended off a roll-up pin after the bro mission was getting a bit looser. So Styles picked up the big dub for his second title defense after Drew Gulak. So he wins. Then after a respectable handshake by Styles and Riddle, Corbin came out of nowhere for back attack. Styles obviously still with the heelless notion. He walks out the way and hits an end of days. We fade to black on SmackDown. SmackDown was at least a tiny bit better than last week. I'll admit that. But other than that, I'm better off just I'm better off just watching 2009 SmackDown. I'd rather watch 2011 SmackDown than this. It brought no semblance of. It just felt like it's a rivalry. It's just something out of universe mode. That's about it. Just the Firefly Funhouse match on universe mode. That's pretty much it. That's all you have to do for a freaking Extreme Rules. The semblance of any hype or doing anything to make sure Extreme Rules will be exciting to watch, completely thrown out the window. You had your top exciting NXT star that the Smarks like out the window for your pay-per-view. Instead of your top-of-the-line NXT call-ups for your tag division, completely out the way for Damaged Goods facing off against Overstaying Their Welcome. And Bayley and Sasha have just have title matches again. There's and don't bring up that I have to watch the Swamp match to actually feel like there has to be. They call it a horror show for a reason for that issue, even though freaking Braun is as damaged goods as Bray Wyatt, and no semblance of prestige to keep doing the cinematic crap with no source of storytelling other than Braun was part of a faction that consistently lost for nearly a year, and they think that's interesting for a storyline. I'm sorry, folks, it's not. And they had their top wrestler out. Daniel Bryan's not even there. Where the hell is Otis and the rest of the division? Where's the hacker that we've been having for months harass Dolph Ziggler and his dumbass promos with Sonya Deville? Where's Mandy Rose? She was having a pretty watchable rivalry with Sonya Deville until Ziggler was out the picture. There's no foreshadowing. There's nothing to excite you for SmackDown coming into the pay-per-view this Sunday. At least I gotta give some optimism into Impact, at least hyping up that we're gonna do something to make sure we change the entire format of the show. At least Impact is willing to change. Over all the bullshit Impact does, they're willing to change and actually get some source of excitement to get their pay-per-views built up and to change the roster. I don't know why WWE is doing this to themselves. So this is why they're hitting up to stuff like 156 on the opening hour of Raw. That can't be possible. That can't be thinkable. And that's not because of the pandemic. You can think about the crowd, maybe a lack of a major crowd. Yes, that does have something to do with it, but there was more people tuning into The Rock and Mankind without any crowd. They were literally in an empty arena fighting for the WWF title on Heat. Freaking Heat! So don't pair off an excuse that you need a crowd, that only a crowd is missing is causing WWE to lose its flair. Nakamura having a spasm attack every promo, Bayley's horse face on my screen doesn't scream like 3 million people want to watch your SmackDown. At all. And two jobbers made of being the top stars on SmackDown is not, bringing up any hype. This is going to be a lackluster Extreme Rules pay-per-view with at least 2 good matches on it. If you guys think differently, please comment down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. That's it for coming from the DST show. Like, comment, subscribe. That's all I gotta say. Hope you guys get ready for Slammiversary tomorrow.